got some rather sad news, Nate, and we talked about this guy in a topic a few days ago, but this is some very sad news. So, linebacker Geno Hayes, former linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and former linebacker for the Florida State Seminoles, he died at age 33 after being transported to a hospice a few days ago. Now, before I say anything, I just want to say this article was written by Jenna Lane, and before I continue on, I just want to give him a moment of silence. Thank you. So, a quote was made by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They said, and I quote, "We are deeply saddened to learn of Geno Hayes' passing. During his time with the Buccaneers, Geno was a beloved teammate and often the first player to volunteer his time to our efforts in the community. He frequently visited schools and had a remarkable ability to connect with children. Losing him at such a young age is heartbroken. Our thoughts are with his family." And yeah, Nate. Obviously, we know what happened with Geno Hayes. He was diagnosed with a liver disease a couple years ago, and he was transported to hospice care. I believe he was transported to hospice care earlier this month. So we talked about it earlier this. We talked about it, earlier in April, but still. Yeah, man, I'll start off first. First of all, again, before I say anything, I just want to say RIP to Geno Hayes and condolences to his family and close and loved ones. Yeah, Nate, this is obviously sad. And the reason why it's so sad is because Geno Hayes was looking to bring awareness to this. He was looking to help people and inspire people. We talked about how he was dealt with this type of thing, and because it was part of his hereditary, because it was part of his family. He was unfortunate to be diagnosed with it. And like he said, he never really drank a lot. He said if I drank, it was going to be something like wine, but he didn't. He wasn't a heavy drinker. Um, and he talked about how it really did affect him, how he was becoming depressed, and how he didn't want to talk to people and everything like that. And he was in a good place too. He was coming out of it. He was coming out of that. And he was in a good place. He was hanging out with his wife and kids. And it is really unfortunate to hear about this, Nate, because this was a guy that was really planning on helping people. And like you read in that quote, he was the first guy to offer help in the community, for his team. And this was a guy that we really considered a good role model. It really is unfortunate that he had to go through this. Um, then again, 33, age 33, it is too young of an age to die. The last guy we talked about that was in hospice care was Marty Schottenheimer, but Marty Schottenheimer was old and he died in hospice care. So yeah, this is why whenever we hear about somebody going into hospice care, this is why I always since the Marty Schottenheimer death, this is why I'm always like this is why it is concerning to me, because hospice care is a place where people who are not well, who are not like well, not like they're not you get what I'm saying. Their well-being, their human life or well-being is not at the best place, and they go into hospice care, and it is really unfortunate. Um, but yeah, I want people to understand that like Geno Hayes was the definition of what you call a role model athlete. Not only did he do what he did on the field, but he also outside of the field and outside of the sport itself, he was willing to help people. It wasn't his legacy is not going to be remembered off of football. His legacy is going to be remembered off of what he went through and how he came out of the darkness, and how he was able to and how he was planning on helping others before his death, unfortunately. But you know what, man? Geno Hayes, again, a great human. Again, condolences to his family and loved ones, and may he rest in peace.
Yeah, it's very sad. Rest in peace to Geno Hayes. Condolences to his family, his children. He leaves behind his wife, his Chevelle, and his children, Jamari, who was 13, and Skylar, 8. So they're very, very young kids. They lost their dad at a very young age. Very unfortunate. And this came as a shock to me, Mark. I did not. And the reason why it came as a shock is exactly as you said. He was young, and he was very, very. And it sounded like he was very well, and that he was actually gonna go out there and help others, bring awareness to liver disease. And liver disease is a very, very serious. You need your liver in order to consume drinks and all that stuff. So it's to have that part of your body infected, that's a very big deal. And he sounded like he was doing really good too when we talked about it. I think it was either earlier this week or last week. Whenever it is, we'll put it in the description down below if you wanted more details on that. Um, but he just sounded really well, and it looked like he was gonna make, and it sounded like he was gonna make a full recovery. Despite him being hospitalized 20 times in the past year, which is just truly insane. I can't imagine that happening. Um, But yeah, it's just a very unfortunate situation. It's very sad. It really pained me, because again, like I said, it sounded like he was doing well. He wanted to help out people that suffered in the same way, and then this happens, and it's just so unfortunate. It's very very sad. But you basically said everything else, so I won't repeat myself. But with that being said, may Geno Hayes rest in peace. Condolences to his family, friends, his wife, and kids. And yeah, it's just a very unfortunate situation.